NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Good evening and welcome to Your Call. It's the only show on Indian television where you, the viewer, can also ask your questions directly to our newsmaker of the week. Tonight I'm joined by a man of many parts, Arun Shourie. Let's just look first at the highlights of his life and career. Mr. Shourie, thank you so much for joining me tonight, sir. Amidst all that you've done, you've also authored 26 books, and your latest one describes you, the book flap describes you as a scholar, author, former editor and minister. But it leaves out a crucial role, your role as a parent of a young man with cerebral palsy. You talk about that in your book. How does that role define Arun Shourie and his work?
Aditya is 35 now. He cannot walk or stand. He can see only from the left side of his eyes. He cannot use his right arm or hand. He speaks syllable by syllable, yet he laughs. इस किताब में सबसे पहले लिखा है, प्यारे, बहुत प्यारे आदित्य के लिए। तुम कहाँ जाओगे? कहाँ? नेहरू पक, नेहरू पक, नेहरू पक और ओवर। आगामी पंचवर्षीय योजना के लिए निर्णय लिया है कि प्रायोरिटी बेसिस पर लंदन और न्यूयॉर्क से 30,000 कुत्तों को मंगवाया जाएगा। Well, that is the most important aspect for me, because our child is for my wife and me, and for many others our life. And the whole book is about that, because that the child's suffering and my wife's reactions to that suffering is the sort of news peg on which this general question is examined of what are the explanations for suffering in the basic religious texts, what are the explanations that were given by the great saints like Raman Maharishi, like Sri Ramakrishna Paramahans, when persons who had suffered blows went to them. And what did they say about their own illnesses? Because as you remember, both of them died extremely excruciating deaths of cancer. So what did they say? What did the devotees like Swami Vivekananda say? Why has this happened to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahans? I'll recite a couplet, one of the Urdu poets writing about God. He says कि जानता हूँ, जानते हो मेरा हाल दिल. I know that you know the condition of my heart. देखता हूँ, देखते हो किस निगाह से तुम. I see the indifferent eye with which you look at my plight. That's the book. It is not possible, it is just not possible to reconcile suffering, the extent of suffering in the world, with this notion of an all-knowing, all-powerful and compassionate God.
spoken like a true atheist, some would say, but you also have dedicated the book to mothers bringing up special children, and I have one such mother who joins us with a question for you, Dr. Meetu Allur.
Many, many congratulations, Arun, on your book, The Weight of Love. Thank you for reserving a copy for me and Malini. I haven't read the full book, but I've read excerpts from it, and I must tell you that I wept. It's hugely moving and poignant, and I thought it needs a lot of courage to pen down all the sorrow and the agony and the pain of it all. I just also felt that it was wonderful that you portrayed Adit in such a positive manner, the way he is. His love for music and poetry, his laughter, his joy, and of course his tears. The question I wanted to ask you is that what do we do as professionals to make life a little bit better? And most importantly, what should governments be doing? How do we actually get over these barriers of apathy, ignorance, the neglect that our disabled citizens suffer?
Well, firstly, your viewers would like to know that Meetu Allur is one of the heroines of this entire, this entire problem, and that she and Malini, her daughter, have been the real pioneers. She's the one who set up the first school for spastic children, and her sister Meeta Nandi set up the first school in Delhi for spastic children, where our son went. And Malini herself is a very courageous girl. Their daughter,
a wonderful book.
She's written a wonderful book with just one little finger, as she says in her title. So it's a great honor to have known them. Now, on the question, what should be done? You know, I have a chapter there called "We Can All Be Servants." At the least, we can all be servants of servants. As far as governments are concerned, I think it is necessary, of course, that governments should be sensitized, but please don't expect much from governments. They can't deal with Naxalites, they can't deal with themselves, they are quarreling, they have no time for us.
So you're talking as someone who's seen that system up close, and I'm going to go across because so many people who want to ask you questions.
Yes.
I'm going to go across to some young students from Chennai who wanted to ask you a question. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, I'm Vibin from Wales University, Chennai. During those days, you followed a first come, first serve process, and now it's like auctioning. So which would be more transparent? Is it auctioning or is it first come and first serve?
On telecom. You see, I think I was, everybody says, oh, he was disinvestment minister, but I really feel that what we were able to do in telecom is not well enough known, because it was a sector of ill repute at that time. And Mr. Bajpayee, in sending me, had told me this, कि मैं तुम्हें कोयले की खान में भेज रहा हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि तुम्हारे कुर्ते पर एक भी कोयले का दाग नहीं आएगा.
That's after you took over from Pramod Mahajan.
Well, no, not from Pramod, but in general, the sector had been mired in controversies, not so much as specifically to Pramod, but there were a lot of litigation and so on. And I was very happy and proud, and all the officers who worked, all of us worked together, that we had cleaned up this sector. Every single case of the operators against government was withdrawn. Against each other, their cases were withdrawn. And the sector started growing. And this very amiable person, Dayanidhi Maran, and I like him very much because I liked his father very much. And for all his amiability, he started restoring all the old things and made it a license permit Raj. The seed of what happened in the Raja was sown by the media has not noticed. A single line without authority was introduced in the guidelines in 2005, which removed the cap on
the number of bidders,
the number of operators in a particular circle. They point on the question of this first come, first served, if you want me to answer that. You see,
because the Justice Shivraj Patil report questioned that.
No, but I think that's a complete... This Shivraj Patil has never written a report. I would really like to meet...
Who's written it then?
No, I don't know. I should really find out. I would like to meet a man who can read files that will fill your studio, Sonia, to the roof in 1 month on a complicated sector and produce a report also.
Are you saying it's ghostwritten by Kapil Sibal?
I think, well, Kapil Sibal's minions or somebody. Anyhow, the point is, I would really like to meet that man who can do it. I work with books, and I know how much you can read. But the point on first come, first served, it is not the only principle that is used. As you know so well, you know about telecom, several criteria are listed.
Right, but of course now we've seen the current political controversy as well. We've seen the JPC and the chairman, Mr. Chakku, just had a press conference and has pegged the NDA losses at 43,000 crores.
And do you know what happened in the next meeting of the JPC? I'll tell you, breach of privilege or no privilege. There was a huge fight.
With the BJP objecting?
No, not only that, because how does this Chakku present this as the findings of a JPC? It is another manufactured figure.
It is a Department of Telecom report.
Not even a report, it's a manufactured figure by these fellows and working for Kapil Sibal today. It is a disgrace to the civil service, I'm telling you. Please let me complete this. Here is this man. He says there is zero loss. He takes credit for zero loss under the UPA and also takes credit for the fact that they have put the man who caused zero loss, Raja, in jail. And this kind of a fellow is going to be allowed to teach the JPC, and the chairman of the JPC swallows and vomits it in public?
Let's just go across, sir, to our next caller. He's from Dehradun, has a question to ask you. Well, I think on the larger issue raised here.
Mr. Shourie, you've had a lot to say about people with tainted pasts coming into public office, and most recently our current president. And my question is, Mr. Shourie, have you ever paid a bribe or taken a bribe? If yes, when, where, and why? And if no, how have you been able to stay so clean in your life?
Well, I have never paid a bribe. Nobody has ever had the audacity to offer a bribe to me. And in fact, Mr. Ramnath Goenka used to say, "Arey, तुम्हारी ऐसी reputation है कि तुम्हें तो क्या हमें भी कोई पैसा नहीं देगा." He used to joke with me like that. No, there's no question of. And these poor fellows have been trying to find out कि भी कुछ तो मिले, और कुछ ही नहीं मिलता क्योंकि कुछ है ही नहीं.
But when you said, you talked about...
No, but you see, this is a very important question. How do you, it's not difficult at all to remain clean in your own responsibilities. The question is, how can you work without paying a bribe? I think you can work without working, just suffer the consequences. Okay, my things will not be cleared. I want a sanction for some one room that has to be constructed in the house. It will take 2 years. Okay, it will take 2 years. I'll give you an example. We had a problem. Winters become difficult for my wife and our child in Delhi, very difficult, because the symptoms become aggravated. So we had to build another house. We had a plot of land bought some 30 years ago, which we wanted to sell. It took us, everybody said, नहीं जी गुड़गांव में plot है, इसका तो 50-50 चलेगा, 50 black में मिलेगा, 50 आपको white में मिलेगा. We said, नहीं, we can't do that. So it took us 2 years to sell the plot. No problem. In the end, a buyer came who was very happy to pay everything by check. That very check we took and I gave it to the Lavasa people. Please, here is the check. Please build it with this check. They did not ask for money. No problem. But it took 2 years.
But tell me, sir, you said you can stay clean individually. You stayed clean in a case of your personal plot. But how do you stay clean in a political system, in a ministry like telecom? Even when you're a telecom minister, you admit there was a lot of pressure on you. I won't say from who at this point. But the accusations are the Congress will say that people close to the then Prime Minister, that a former telecom minister, kept the pressure and kept being involved in that sector. Did you ever feel